Hello everyone, and welcome to our Kia Uvo 2020 Tech Help video. In this video, we hope to give you a better understanding of the system by taking a very detailed look at the newest version of the UVO system found in nearly all new Kia products. We will be covering all the features, but feel free to skip around to the particular parts that are of interest to you. Let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so getting started with our UVO system here. This is our home screen as shown on an 8-inch display in the 2020 Kia Sportage. And in this home screen, basically you've got several different areas that you can just select and skip straight into those sections. So for instance, here we have our Bluetooth audio, and I can just click straight into it and it brings us into our audio section. To go back to the home screen, I'll just press the home button. And then you will notice we have the date and time and various connections up here across the top of the screen. As far as where you find all the different apps, that's going to be here in the all menus. So this will just bring you to a screen where you can see every type of application available on the car in one spot. You can also edit the order of things, so you can switch, say I want to move that to the second page or whatever. You do have the ability to do that. But we'll go ahead and start jumping through the features. So we'll start up here with our phone. In here, this is kind of your typical phone section. So you start out with some recent calls. You can click to this tab here to see your contacts, which automatically sync over through your Bluetooth connected smartphone. And then you can click on these different letters to quickly jump to a certain section. You do have a dial pad right there. And then this right here is a place for you to save favorites. So you can save, for instance, someone that you call all the time, and you can just stick them there in your favorites. Our next section here is called driving information. This basically is just like a snapshot of different things about how you're driving, so you can kind of see what speeds you're driving, acceleration and deceleration. Just different types of ways to help you become a better, more efficient driver. Now, two of these blacked out buttons you might be noticing are some of the most interesting features, and that is your Android Auto and your Apple CarPlay. These come standard on pretty much every trim of every Kia, which is a very nice feature, and they do work the same way as in other vehicles, so you can just plug into your USB port, and you do have access then to things like your Google Earth Maps and different phone settings, so you don't necessarily have to rely on the UVO system. So I just plugged in my Android phone to activate the Android Auto. Of course, like I said, you do also have Apple CarPlay. So what happens here is, now that I've done that, I now have this available as a tile that I can click into. So I can click into it, and then I'll jump straight into the Android Auto system. So like I already kind of explained, this is very much similar, or this exactly the same as in other vehicles. So you've got your 5 shortcut buttons along the bottom. This is your home screen with different tiles to flip through. You also have a phone section with your contacts, same as the car's phone system. But then, like I said, most importantly is that you have access to the Google Maps. So we can kind of pinch to zoom, and as you can see, this is actually the satellite version, which is very nice to have. So you don't have to feel as if you need to pay extra for navigation when you can use this usually, like I said, on even the base trims. But if you do have it, as you can see, it does have very nice graphics, and it's extremely responsive to pinch to zoom as well. Now, to access your menu, you just press the menu button. And this is where you can change different settings, like turning on your 3D mode, 3D buildings, and then you can also come up here and change your route settings, turn on and off traffic, various things like that. Now, coming over here, you can press the navigation button. This is where you actually get into the part where you actually set your destination. So you have an address book, you have a log of your previous destinations right there. You can also search online or via POI categories. Finally, you do also have access to your different audio sources, right, like this. And then the last thing to know is that you'll press this button right here to return to your Kia Uvo system if you are done with Android Auto. Now, moving past that, we've got our XM satellite data. This basically is just some information that's transmitted through your satellite radio connection. So you have things like your weather, You have some sports information, stocks information. You can also check for nearby fuel stations to see where you can find the best deal, and then click on it to go right there. And then you also have movies as well. The next thing is called Quick Guide. This is basically a little mini instruction manual that Kia has put together inside of the system to help you learn how to use it. So if you need some help with, let's say, phone projection, which would be your Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, they put together some little pages that you can flip through so that you can kind of learn how to do it, how to set it up, and reasons that it may or may not be working for you. And you can use the same thing for voice recognition, Bluetooth, etc. We also have our voice commands here. This is another kind of tutorial-like thing because it basically shows you what type of voice commands that the system will recognize, gives you some examples so that you know what to say, so that you can see that call John Smith or whatever will work. Now, since I am talking about voice commands, we'll go ahead and try one out just to demonstrate how it works.
Please say a command.
Call Mason.
Calling Mason.
So as you can see, it works as simple as that. You can also do navigation, voice instructions if you have the built-in navigation system. This one specifically, this Sportage does not have that. And then when you're plugged in using Android Auto or Apple CarPlay, your voice button will activate Siri or the Google Assistant instead. Scrolling on over to our next page, we have our radio. In here you've got your various different sources that you can switch between. And then you set up your presets along this side that you can just simply scroll through. As you can see, you can actually mix up your presets, which is a pretty nice ability, so you can switch seamlessly between FM, AM, and XM radio. And then, as you can see with this instruction here, to set a new radio station, so we could say this is what we want as a new preset, all you gotta do is hold down on the preset you want it to be, and it will automatically become that. In the satellite radio, if you have a Kia that comes equipped with it, you can also play and pause, skip the music around so that you don't have to listen to it necessarily live. You can also click the channel list at the top to actually see what type of channels that you want to listen to, and you can just click straight into them like that. In the next section we have music. This is basically the media that's not your radio functions. So like I've already mentioned, I am connected through the standard Bluetooth, and this does give you the ability to play and pause the music straight from this screen here, and also make adjustments to which devices you're connected to using the menu. On some of the Kia models, you will also have a climate section. So on this specific one, this basically is just going to mirror what I do with the physical controls down below. And finally, there's an interesting feature called voice memo that not a lot of systems have. So what this allows you to do is just click the record button, save some type of message to yourself, and then look back at it later on. Remind me to get the groceries tomorrow. Then you can just click stop, it'll save it, then later on you can come back in here and listen to what you previously said. Remind me to get the groceries tomorrow. Alright, so now we'll go ahead and go through some more odds and end things. One little small thing that people often wonder is like changing the time when you change time zones, or when you go from daylight savings time. So all you gotta do is simply click on the time. You can set your date right there and set your time with your AM and PM. Then you can simply check this on and off for your daylight savings time, or to go for a 24-hour clock if that's something that you want to do. Setup brings you to all your different settings, so we'll go ahead and start to dig into those. So first of all, you have some display settings. So we can click this button here to simply turn off the display. We can also click into here to adjust the different lighting. So you can do automatic, daylight, or night, and then we can also choose the illumination of the instrument cluster. In your sound settings, this is where you can make different adjustments to the type of sound you want to hear. So we can set volume. This just chooses how loud you want your ringtone, your voice recognition, system prompts, stuff like that. Some people want that louder, some people want it less. The position is for the speakers, so we can make the sound come from just the front speakers, or if we set it here in the center, it will come from all of the speakers available in the vehicle. Tone, of course, is where you can make adjustments to the actual sound quality itself, turn up the bass, treble, and mid-range. These two features here are very interesting and nice to have. You have the startup volume limit. This allows you to set a limit to what the stereo can be at when you start up the vehicle. That way, if you were jamming when you got out of the vehicle last time, you won't start up and startle you when you get back into it again. And we also have our proximity warning. So when the vehicle goes into reverse, it will turn down the audio to be quieter. That way you can hear any type of noises that you may need to hear. And then one of the last things to do in the sound section is across the top here, you'll notice beep. This is turned on. This is just the system's beeping every time you touch. That might get on some people's nerves, so we'll go ahead and turn that off. Okay, next section is Bluetooth. This is just where you find all your Bluetooth things. Choose which connections you want. This is where you can disconnect, delete, and add new devices straight from here. And there are various other functions. You can use things like the privacy mode here, where it won't display your contacts, your call history. You won't have like your text messages pop up or be read aloud to you. So if you have something that you want to keep secret, you can. Inside of our phone, projection. This is just where you turn on and off Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. So if you're having trouble with these systems not working when you plug in your phone, make sure to check in the settings and make sure that they're both checked to be able to work when you plug in something in. We've already looked at the home screen. That's where you customize what you want on the home screen. In the voice recognition settings, this just allows you to control how much the car talks to you. So basically when you push the voice command button, it will speak to you and try to help you understand what you should and should not say to the system. So if you put it on beginner, it's going to be more chatty, try to coach you through things. But once you get used to the car, you can put it on expert so that it's not going to do any extra talking at all. So you have language, keyboard. We have a little screensaver here. This just allows you, when you turn off the display, it will either be none as the default, but we can also choose to turn off the display and just have a clock across the screen in either analog or digital version. Here in the advanced settings, this is one of the nice features about the Kia Uvo system, as well as the similar Hyundai BlueLink system. And that's how you get to make a custom button and you'd assign it to whatever you want it to be. So you can't see it on this car, but in this Sportage down here we have a physical button labeled with a star. That star button is the custom button. So what I'll just do is I can simply check off which one of these things I want that button to serve as. So if I say display on and off, for instance, then I'll just press that button. The display will go off or go to the screensaver that I selected, and then I can turn it back on. But anyways, that pretty much covers everything you need to know about the Kia Uvo system. Like I said, this is the most current version of the Uvo system as found in your 2019 and 2020 Kias right now. So hopefully you learned some meaningful things and that you understand better the Uvo system that you're using.